All right, guys. There's still 12 minutes left in the game, but this one's over. It's so over. I think ESPN even lost interest because they stopped updating the game. We get like an update from ESPN once every 5 minutes if we're lucky. But yeah, this one's over, and I want to get this out, and I want to be done with this game so I can move over to the main event, Kentucky versus Florida. Going to be a very interesting and fun game, and I'm going to stream it. So there's no point in me streaming out the rest of this Huskies game when you're up by almost 6 touchdowns and you're running out the clock. Dylan Morris is in the game. Victory cigar. Hopefully that's what he remains. There's an opportunity for him to eventually become the, you know, entrails of defeat. You put him in at the end when you're losing by 6 touchdowns. But today, he's a victory cigar. As of right now, Washington's up 39 points, and we have the ball with 12 minutes left, so it might not be over. But realistically, the game is over, and um, there's really not a whole lot to say in the negative. It's a game that you should blow out your opponent in, but you do blow out your opponent in, and you can feel good about that. So I'm going to get this video done. I'm going to get it out. Ooh, Dylan Morris looking like the Dylan Morris of old. Basically, Brett Favre'd it. But anyway, um, yeah, I'm going to be streaming the Kentucky-Florida game at 4. So that's going to be in about less than 20 minutes. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be more interesting than this game. I can pretty much guarantee that. As for this one, man, the offense, every time they touch the ball, it seems like something good happens, man. Um, this offense with DeBoer, it's fun. There's a ton of pre-snap motion. There's a ton of fun stuff happening in terms of formations. There's a lot of stuff being thrown at defenses. And you can see the ability to manufacture easy completions that just print first downs. You see the ability to hit the big plays. And Penix, again, did a great job running the show, and he did it without Odunze, who I didn't see out there once today. And it didn't matter. He found guys like McMillan. McMillan had a big game. He checked it down to his tight ends and backs. He was hitting, what's the guy's name? Polk for a couple. And this offense, I know it's two really weak defenses that you should blow out, but they've basically done everything right through 2 games. And I believe that this team is going to be able to carry over at least some of that success when we start playing real teams next week. So offensively, just to get that out of the way, they've been basically perfect through the first 2 games, and I think they have turned the corner from last year. Now, defensively, just to run it down, the pass rush today was great. There were a ton of plays that just got ruined by the pass rush. And Portland State's quarterback, I can't remember his name, but he's a dual threat, and you saw it a few times, but for the most part, we did a great job keeping him penned in. There was a ton of pressure on him on a majority of his dropbacks, and when you do that, you're going to have a lot of success. When you're getting up early on teams like we are, and you're able to generate pressure, you're probably going to win almost all your games. Now, that's something I can't say, is it going to transfer over when we start playing better teams down the line? Is that going to transfer over when we start playing the Division One ranked teams maybe and have to deal with their offensive lines? I don't know, but that to me was the main takeaway from the defense. They generated enough pressure to cause problems for Portland State's quarterback, and I mean, the game was going to be a blowout regardless, but that really made it so we could prevent Portland State from even getting into the end zone. Now, the only concern that I have as we move into the tougher part of the schedule, the only part of this that I'm not so sure about as we go into a game like Michigan State is the cornerbacks. They got beat several times today. And frankly, I don't think they played great last week either. And they're playing Kent State and Portland State. So the cornerbacks, I'm not totally feeling amazing about. I'm going to go ahead and put it like that. I saw them get beat. They committed a penalty or two down the field. There was a pass interference. There was a holding on a 4th down. There were opportunities for us to get off the field, and our cornerbacks got beat and would commit a penalty to save themselves. There were other plays where the Portland State quarterback just missed. I think there were like two, maybe even three touchdowns he just overthrew on where the guy was open or the receiver slipped on one of them, I believe. So we lost Trent McDuffie and we lost Caleb Gordon. You can see the guys replacing them are not as good. So that's going to be an issue as we step into the more difficult part of this schedule. Now, regardless, that's probably something we're going to have to live with this year. We have an offensive-minded head coach, offensive-minded roster in general, I think. I mean, I like our linebackers. Defensive line's pretty good. I'm not saying anything negative about those guys, but I believe the bulk of the ability on this roster is in the offense. We're going to have to score a lot of points, and we're going to have to accept that we're going to give up a decent number of points. So that's got to be the formula for the rest of the season. You're going to have to outscore teams for the most part with these cornerbacks, and that's fine, but it is what it is. But yeah, great game today, 45-6. Could have easily been more if we had left the starters in, but obviously we're not. I don't see any starters out there on offense at the moment at the very least. So the DeBoer era is off to a really good start. And look, I know it's two really bad opponents, but you look around college football right now, you see what Texas A&M is doing against Appalachian State, where they're in a dogfight right now. You saw Notre Dame a little bit ago lose outright to Marshall. And you realize that these things are not automatic. These things are not a given. You do need to go out there and execute, and today the Huskies have. For the first two games of the year, they have absolutely executed, and excuse me, that's beyond what we saw last year. People in the chat today were asking, is this just the level of competition, or are the Huskies massively improved from last year? And look, last year there's no competition. We lost a game to Montana. We lost to Montana. We were held scoreless in the last 56 minutes of the game, I think, by Montana. No competition. This team is doing everything they need to do to impress me in these first two games. I'm really happy we have a real quarterback again. It's been a minute. I'm really happy that we have an offense that is creative. Been a minute since we had one of those. And I'm starting to believe this team could compete for this conference. So I wasn't there before the season started. I was sure Oregon had us. I was sure that Oregon was going to be better than us. I was sure that there was going to be at least one more Pac-12 team better, like maybe USC with Lincoln Riley, which still may happen. But now my mind is a little more open to the possibility that something good could happen here, especially when you look at Washington State. I don't think they're playing okay, but they don't look like a juggernaut to me like I thought they had a chance to be. So some cool stuff can happen here. All right, guys, I'm going to cut on out of here. I'm going to try to catch the last few minutes of the Cougars game because that's been a fairly dramatic one. And yeah, with 10 minutes left, I can tell you that this one is in the books. And that's exactly what you want to do against a team like Portland State. Washington moves to 2-0. Big test coming up next week. We're going to find out what's up with this team for real. And I will be streaming it. By the way, thank you to everybody who came out for the stream today. We had as many as 50 people in there. I know it's not the most interesting game in the world, but we still had some people coming to hang out with me. Gonna do it again next week. All right, see you guys later. Bow down to Washington, 2-0, baby.